Sometimes all you need to make a series golden is having a single amazing character. And Mitsuha is one of the most refreshing characters I have ever seen in a show. She's driven, smart, and is extremely relatable when it comes to how she tackles anime's most biggest trope right now, Isekai. Yes, Isekai. But don't shut this video off yet, hear me out. Because not only is Mitsuha a refreshing lead, she also manages to spin one of the most satisfying takes on the Isekai genre. What would you do if you could travel between our world and a fantasy world? Exploit the hell out of it, right? Mitsuha is not your typical dithering character with no driving force. She's an adult, she's smart, and she knows what she wants. But this is my review of Saving 80,000 Gold in Another World for My Retirement, a series that aired in the winter 2023 anime season. So let's dive into why you should watch this. Saving 80,000 Gold opens up with a girl named Mitsuha, and as she has some sort of dispute with some guys on the side of a cliff, she ends up getting pushed off of it, falling to her death. But as she's falling, she reaches out, screaming how much this sucks, and eventually grabs onto something. She's not quite sure what it is, but she ends up teleporting to another world. She wanders around this world, eventually meets some locals there. She doesn't understand a thing they're saying. Eventually, at some point, she ends up meeting this being, and this being was the reason why she got the power she did. While she was falling, the thing that she grabbed was a part of this being's energy. And if it were to take that power back, it would essentially kill Mitsuha. So thankfully, it lets her have it. But this energy gives her the ability to transport between dimensions, different worlds. And she also gains the ability to regenerate really quickly. And through Mitsuha's request, this being also bestows upon her the ability to understand all languages. So now with all this in mind, Mitsuha ends up making a decision. A path that she wants to take going forward. Since in this other world, their currency is gold, and in our world, gold is worth a lot, she's going to take the niceties and knowledge that she has from our modern times world into this fantasy world and essentially make a bunch of money. She'll take shampoo from our world, sell it in this world, gain a gold coin, and then use this mercenary group in our world to essentially exchange that gold for actual currency, Japanese yen. All for the goal of gaining 80,000 gold in order to retire. Through her journey, she meets the nobles, she opens up a shop within the Central Kingdom, and all the while meeting the many people of this world and gaining favors and allies. And yes, running into a lot of really nasty people. So my thoughts on Saving 80,000 Gold for My Retirement. I absolutely love this show. Now, I'm not going to say it's a perfect show. It does have its flaws. But I think the essential thing that made me love this series so much is that the main character is such a likable character. She's a relatable character. She does the things that you would do if you had this option. Again, very quickly, she goes, okay, I gotta find a mercenary group to kind of exchange these gold coins. I need protection. I need somebody to teach me how to defend myself. I don't have, like, superpowers. I don't have a magic beam. I need to protect myself, so I obviously need to acquire weapons. I need to learn how to use those weapons. I'll open up a shop. I'll exploit the currencies between the two worlds, because essentially anything that she's touching when she transports, she brings with her. So if she wants to travel for a long time, she just gets a moped and just transports and drives around this fantasy world with a moped. It all makes sense. And like I said, she's such a likable character. Her joy is infectious. Whenever she succeeds at something, you just want to root for her. She's just not your standard isekai trope character. She's not some kid in school that gets transported and then gets some OP ability and then blasts everybody and gets the harem. No, this is somebody that's just become an adult. Her life in our world is not terrible, though she has lost her family. In the end, she's just somebody that's presented with an option that she can exploit. And her journey is exploiting that. Finding what works, establishing connections. And in the end, although it seems like she's a selfish person that's just trying to exploit the system for herself, she doesn't turn a blind eye to those that need help. And while a lot of the show is her trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work, bringing niceties of our world to this other world and seeing people's reaction to these things that shouldn't exist. Like one key main story point at some point was that she serves fish. And everybody's freaking out like, wait, this has got to be toxic because the ocean's way far away. There's no way you can get stuff this fresh. It has to be dried or something. But she's obviously using preserved stuff and packaging and it works. And how people believe that she has some sort of secret trade routes that's going on, that some method that they want to learn about is really, really entertaining. But that's not the full extent of the story because it kind of offsets it a little bit with her experiences with those around her. Early on in the village, meeting the girl Colette, making connections with the local nobles, and lying the fact that she's from some foreign land. Her interactions are always genuine. I especially liked her interaction with the nobles themselves because at some point, while she's basically deceiving these people, she slips up. because she recalls her family that she lost in her previous world. And she almost forms a familial bond with these nobles. It was kind of one of those moments where it caught me off guard because she got caught off guard. So every now and then you'll get these moments of heart in here that really just makes Mitsuha that much more relatable. She's a fun character. And seeing how she explains away a lot of the things that she's bringing to this world, claiming it's technology from a foreign land or something like that, is really fun. And yes, eventually bringing modern weaponry into this world and them sort of thinking that it's some sort of magic ability. I will admit that the show's weakest point is probably the supporting cast. While yes, I got a little emotional with her experience with the nobles, it was more about Mitsuha. When it came to her interactions with the kingdom itself and a lot of the people within the kingdom, most cases they felt like kind of characters that were thrown in there in order to accent Mitsuha. But that's not to say that's a bad thing. Again, my joy and my love for this series is how much I love Mitsuha. But where I honestly did struggle with was some of the interactions with the villain characters. Yes, as she opens up the shop, there's going to be obviously a lot of people in the trade sphere and the guilds and stuff that don't want her to exist there. She's making too much money, she's pulling attention, and they want to exploit what she has. And the unfortunate thing that this series kind of does, not a bunch, but several times over, is have some nasty person come in the door, and they're obviously going to ruin everything that Mitsuha's doing, and then magically, somebody very important that Mitsuha knows would just show up. Oh, the nobles that she met way over here in this other area just happened to show up at that moment. Oh, the king himself literally walks through the door and says, "What's going on here?" It's a bit much. It oftentimes resolves a situation with Mitsuha knows somebody, and that person just happened to show up. Again, it's probably 3 or 4 times. It's not a bunch of times, but it did after the 3rd time go, are we doing this again? But the other times, Mitsuha figures it out herself. And like I said, the core reason why I like her so much is that she's relatable in how she handles it. If a girl is being kidnapped by a bunch of thugs in an alleyway, being that she doesn't have OP abilities, she's gonna use a little weapon. And I really like that. I like when the character makes a decision where I go, yeah, it's pretty much what I would do. Visually, unfortunately, the show is not the greatest looking show, but it did enough that it worked. The characters go off model a lot, but they put the animation and the character expressions in where it really needs it. Every time Mitsuha is thinking about something clever or something, I just love it. Overall, I think the comedy is really solid as well. I think one of the funniest parts is when she's meeting with this noble family that she meets early on, and she starts selling different things that she has, like a pocket knife. And when one of the sons asks if there's anything else that she can sell because these are cool things, she eventually says, no, the only thing I have left is my underwear. And he says, I'll buy it. And then the other kid says, no, I'll buy it. And then they all kind of realize what they're saying. It's just really, really goofy in a lot of cases. Or when this one girl starts hanging out at Mitsuha's shop because she discovers that Mitsuha has this portable DVD player, and she has to sit there and kind of translate all this stuff from Japanese to their language. Every time somebody comes in the door, she turns it off because she doesn't want anybody to know about it. And at some point, this girl starts glaring at anybody that comes in the store. It's not always laugh out loud comedy, but it's a lot of comedy that'll give me a chuckle or just a really good smile. In the end, I really love this show. It's got its flaws. It's rough around the edges, but overall, again, my biggest enjoyment of this show is how I really do just connect with Mitsuha. And I like the fact that she makes decisions that I agree with. And yes, once she gets mad, she's willing to step up. The show isn't about gathering a harem. It's not about exploiting Mitsuha. She's very reserved, she's very mature. I mean, there was only one time where we had fan service for her, and it was when she put on a bathing suit to go in the water, and everybody flipped out. And I liked how the show kind of didn't show her in really compromising ways or anything like that. They didn't give you any really fan service. A lot of it's about her designs, her outfits and stuff that she has. I mean, the ED is full of really great outfits. But it's funny because there's so little focus on exploiting Mitsuha for fan service that when it finally happens, you're shocked with the characters in the scene. It's kind of funny in that regard. But if you haven't guessed by now, this show is Mitsuha, the animation. I absolutely love her character. She's probably easily going to go down as one of my favorite female protagonists in any series. And I really, really hope that we get more of it. But that's my review of Saving 80,000 Gold, Another World from My Retirement. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as always. If you did, make sure that like button down below, comment, let me know what you thought of the series if you're going to be checking it out. Additionally, if you're new to the channel, make sure that subscribe button so you get all my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions, top list. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support the channel more, I have a Patreon link, a tips link, super thanks button down below, as well as a membership button down there. I greatly appreciate everybody that supports the channel. You guys mean so much to me, and y'all take care.